Hey,
I need a lot of help these days. Okay, so he was born 49, died 19. He was a good friend of mine, and I don't have a lot of conversation with this, but I will tell you a little bit about how Don and I got involved. He came up to my house quite a bit and ran, liked to run on the railroads up here, and at the same time, why Dwayne Henry was really gearing up his Alexander company that he bought. Alexander had been split up into a couple of different companies, and he had a bunch of the buildings. So he was trying to get those back on the market. And Don and I were the guinea pigs. He would make the building, and then he would give us each a kit and tell us to build it and tell him what was wrong, what worked and what didn't work. And then, of course, he would make whatever adjustments there was. So we built a lot of N gauge, HO, and everything else. I looked this morning to try to find some of them, and I guess I deleted them thinking there was no reason to keep them. But I did keep these pictures of Don's layout, and you're going to see a lot of them that are going to look quite the same. And I'm not going to have much to talk about, but I would appreciate it if everybody out there would comment when you see a picture, and maybe we can answer a question. He was great on harbors. He loved harbors. His buildings had lots and lots of detail in them. And viewing these slides do not give the buildings justice. So as you went in the room, this starts at the very right-hand corner of the layout room. I think his wife was the one who painted the background for him. She was kind of an artist, and I think she did work some work over to Chuck Hart's layout. A lot of these buildings will show up a lot better on what John has. John bought a lot of the buildings, and he took some really nice pictures of them.
Yeah, I got in pretty close, Ron, on them. I stole Don's idea. If you look at the water, that's a shower door painted on the back side. So it has some texture to it.
So I'm moving around the room slowly, so you'll see a lot of the same thing a couple times, but we're moving from right to left around the room. It was not a large room. I don't know that he ever had any operation there other than his own. He was constantly building and rebuilding.
I like the streaks of green in the water.
You can see the fish inside the boat here.
Oh, yeah.
He also was, I guess at one time he was into airplanes, but he had several large, probably 1/4-inch scale boats that he had built. Well, the ones that I saw had motors in them. They were beautiful boats.
he also put either barnacles or mussels on all of the posts. I don't know. I don't remember if it was freshwater or salt water.
You can see him on the pilings there along that wharf.
Yeah. I think he treated every one of them.
I think he intended this to be saltwater.
Not enough bird poop on the tops of the pilings.
Well, I'm gonna tell you, if he was here tonight, he would be down there working on that.
The boats there, I'm trying to think of the name of the manufacturer. I think it was like French's Golf or French
Oh, yeah.
Rivercraft or,
French, something works.
yeah.
I
He
love
was a
the tire
DC.
bumpers on the side of that barge.
Yeah, he was a Digitrax DCC guy. There you can see the far corner of the layout where most of it isn't done. There was a roundhouse back in here and numerous buildings around that he was, as I said, he was constantly changing this area and rebuilding it.
Ron, did you happen to take any pictures of the bottom of the layout with all the storage?
No, I did not.
Because that was also meticulously built.
Don had a really interesting workshop, and he and his cat would go down there and they'd turn on the heater, and they would have a good time every evening building something. It was well-equipped workshop, I can tell you. The layout is gone. It was, I think, as far as I know, it went to the dumpster. They sold off a lot of things, and finally she just gave it up and sold it to one of the dealers in town. And I think the layout probably went out to the dumpster.
No. Now I have that crane and the wharf that it's on. I also have that car ferry. And quite a few of the other buildings that we've got that they're showing there. So if anybody wants to come out and actually view these buildings, they're up in Tacoma on my layout.
He had a lot of steam engines too, but he never really ran them much. He was more into the diesel era, but he out in his outside of the shop, he had a two cabinets on the wall full of steam engines.
Well, I can see why he didn't run them. He didn't have a spur going into the turntable from the main line.
Yeah, but I was just looking at, how do you get to the turntable?
There's a helicopter depot just around the corner.
Oh,
Through the back wall of the roundhouse.
Yep, I can see
My
his specialty
finger
was
shifter.
buildings and not track work, so.
My finger shifter.
Oh, he was using the Woodland Scenics track cleaning method.
Mhm.
Anybody know who the doodle bug is in that former picture? That doodle bug
right here.
on the right? No, on the right side by the trailer.
Right behind the crane.
It's,
Right.
it's not
Right
to the
here.
right, Ron. It's
No,
not on
Ron,
the track.
other
The
side.
photo.
To the right of the building.
Yep,
Right
that
here.
one, right there.
No, I don't know what it is. But I can tell you what these are. These are roundhouse, small diesel locomotives that he gutted them and put in Northwest Short Line power in them. And I have one that I had him build for me. It includes sound and all that. The one thing I did wrong is I should have put in, instead of 2 motors, I should have put them in, I should have did both trucks. I only did 1 truck. The engine runs very, very well. It has Stay Alive in it. You can turn that thing off and go upstairs, have a cup of coffee, come back. It's still running. Well, not quite, but it really is a nice locomotive, but it's pretty slippery. So here's where he was started to do some grass experimenting and trying to maybe get the scenery in better shape.
Gruesome casket.
That goes back a while.
He liked these cars that you could put the cars on. I'm not sure who made them. They may have been Lionel cars.
Catherine made them too.
Didn't Tyco make something like that early on?
I think that's what I said wrong. Tyco's probably what it is.
Revell picked up by Tyco.
Yeah, it could be. I know this one down here is an Ambroid Western Union car because I got one. There's these Pickle Works.
Mm-hmm.
I think that Pickle Works ended up on Dick Berry's layout.
That's correct, John.
Dick Berry is another of our fallen flags, really. Good friend of mine, good friend of John's and the other
Yep.
group down there in Warsaw.
Dick passed away Sunday. The services are at First Baptist Church in Warsaw next Tuesday.
John, I remember Don Cope telling me he was a pilot. Do you remember if he was a commercial pilot or Air Force?
Oh, he was in the Army, but I can't tell you if he was the pilot part was part of the Army, but he was veteran in the Army. He may have retired from the Army.
I think his widow told me he was a private pilot, but that he had. Oh, I don't want to say for sure, but I think because of health reasons, he had to give up his ticket. I'm not sure.
Well, on the commercial, they have age limits, so.
Yeah, they do.
He was a modeler most of his life, but he did airplanes and boats, and he had cars. He had well, I'm not into that, but I bet somebody might know some more about race cars and things, like we used to have when it was a big deal a few years ago, like 25, 40 years ago.
I think there was some, and Chuck Hart might know for sure, but I think there was some tethered car parts in some of those boxes.
I think that's the end. And I'll show what John sent. All right, I guess I got to figure out how to do this again.
If you guys ever want to see a really strange hobby, go to YouTube and Google and search tether car.
I happen to go to Columbia City. There's a little hobby shop there. It's all cars and RC. And the guy was showing me over in Germany, just do a YouTube search for radio controls construction sites.
Oh,
Oh,
isn't
yeah.
that amazing?
They are into it. They are into it.
Guys do that here in the States in their basement.
They actually rent out like big building lots. And when I say building lot, I mean a couple of acres. And there are, I think they're all H scale. I'm not sure, but there's some monsters in there. Cranes, high hose, all sorts of stuff. And I thought, yeah, that's what I need, another hobby.
American Pickers has done a couple of shows where they're buying those tether cars.
Well, you
Yeah.
know, the guys that came over to Don's house to buy things may or may not have looked in another room in the basement.
Oh yeah, slot cars.
Don was just as much into the cars that you control with little controllers, slot cars.
Right.
He had
Right.
2 huge slot car tracks in another room in the basement. And then he had RC controlled boats. Carol sold a couple of those after he passed. And you're right, he was into airplanes, and him and Carol had a large boat that they would take out on lakes. So he was in just about every kind of hobby you can imagine.
And I'll let
Okay,
you
these,
talk about, please.
Ron, do you want me to describe these where they're at on my layout or?
Yeah, go ahead, and then I'll change the scene when you're done.
Okay, I put this building up in Astoria. It's a net tender, and the scenery is not complete around there. But I gotta tell you, the detail, people say, they'll come down, it's straight ahead as you walk in or come down the basement, and people start to compliment me on it, and I say, whoa, whoa, whoa. I'll point to the gray house, and that's my work. This is Don's work. The nets have fish inside of them. I think in the picture on the right, that little lobster trap or whatever, I think I've got one of them that has a lobster inside of it. And I've never seen an HO lobster before. Don must have carved it out of balsa. I'll see if I can dig that up. Because I took all the detail stuff that I bought there, and I've been adding it to the layout as needed. But he did great work. Okay, Ron. The one on the left is another shot of how I placed it. And it's not complete yet. The scene isn't complete. The White House, by the way, in the back, if anybody remembers the movie Goonies, the Goonies, that's one of Lisa's favorite movies, and a buddy of mine built that. So on the right is building 32. There's a car that goes inside of it. I actually had to build a ramp up. I did not want to slice off the bottom of the pilings. I thought that'd be sacrilege. So I basically built a pier up around it. And as you can tell on the it's a shower door. And well, the one on the right is Tacoma. I actually went and took pictures when I was out there in 2015. Astoria's water looks like that in certain places, and so does to the right, that's Tacoma. And I was kind of amazed, but because of the way where it's at on that sound there, the fresh water comes in, I thought it'd be real murky. And then after I looked at some of my pictures, I looked at pictures on the web, it's kind of a Caribbean blue in some places. Okay. This is building 32 again. I added some rock work to the right. Those little rocks I added. And you can see to the right too, where I built up the track. It's not completed yet. Don had lights. If you look on the third light from the one on the right, it's kind of bent. I did that, I'm ashamed to say. And I'm kind of afraid to bend it back. It's I'll build up some courage and get some bourbon and bend it back one day. Okay, Ron. That's his crane that actually will roll back and forth. Again, the pilings are, what I did was I painted that shower door and I laid out where it was gonna be, and I added shadow on the back of the shower door. I actually had to paint it reverse, because it got lighter away from the pilings. And there's the Department of Docks next to the right. And then that's also the car ferry in front of it.
The crane, I'm sure that's probably a kit. But I've never seen that advertising.
That's actually a Walters kit, I believe. I thought it was a Cabri, but I believe that's it goes with the car ferry. They had that whole, Walters had that whole
Waterfront scene, yeah.
waterfront scenes, and this was part of it. Next slide should show the yeah, there it is.
Yeah.
The apron. And that apron over there, I've got one, and this is the one from Don's layout. I had already built the apron and the ferry. Mine didn't work. Mine, they have you put plastic track in there, and I thought, well, I know an engine doesn't go on there. I use 3 idler flats whenever I switch it, but it's still not quite right. Mainly because there's a switch right in the middle of that apron. It goes from 2 tracks to 3. Or is it?
It's on the barge.
Yeah. Well, no, the switch is on the apron. Right before the apron, it goes from 1 to 2, then right underneath the building of the apron, there's a switch there.
Well, the pictures that we saw earlier showed a turnout on that barge just to the left of that bridge structure.
Well, I think it's the part of the turnout past the frog. The diverging rails are there. I'll have to go down and look and double check it. Only thing I did on this was to I added some weight on the little counterweights that are in there. The plastic counterweights were such that they didn't hold the counterweights down enough, and there was a little bit of slack in the cable. So I added about 3 ounces to each of those. And if anybody ever operates on my layout, I like to add weight to things. And there's a closer up view of the Department of the Docks. This is Weatherby's, and that's at Frenchman's. Dan, I think it's Frenchman's Gulf or Gulch, Frenchman's Gulch, or Frenchman. What did you send? Frenchman River,
Frenchman River. They do sell boats.
Okay.
Ron Gilson, didn't you buy some of that stuff? Is Gilson still on?
Yeah, I got some of the boats. I think they're French River models.
French
Yeah.
River models. Okay. Dan sent that. Yeah. I like this Weatherby's. It's at the end of, I've got a little yard up there in Tacoma, and it's at the end of that yard. So it's the boxcars are loaded at the back of this, and I didn't get behind it. And you can see my supply shelf right there. I gotta put an end on that thing just so you don't see a supply shelf.
About a year before Don passed, he put on a clinic in the NMRA divisional meet on how to apply signage to sides of buildings. And it was a fantastically well done clinic. And I used that and it was really, really a great clinic to put on.
Was that clinic recorded for posterity?
Not at that time.
Unfortunately, no.
What's that, Ron?
Unfortunately, we didn't record it.
Oh, okay. Well, people have asked me, they asked me how'd you do it? And I said, I didn't, again, you know, and I give full credit to Don on all these buildings. There's a guy, Tom Zurich, I just went and looked at his layout, fantastic layout in northwest or northeast side of Goshen. And he's got some real nice models. I said, wow, you're a great model builder. He says, I bought every single one of them. And you know, it's part of the hobby nowadays. If you have a huge layout or a large layout, you got to really invest some time in building buildings. And sometimes you take the cheating route and you just buy them. So I'm glad I got these.
We're doing the same thing with freight cars, so why not buildings?
One thing Don did that is similar to what Maynard Mitchell does, he would use India ink and alcohol, and he would, you know, apply that to all his buildings to put some weathering on them. That's the last picture.
That's the overall view from the end of the harbor area.
Yeah. Well, okay.
Good. Well, thank you, Ron and John. That was very interesting. I was able to attend a clinic that Don did at one of our divisional meetings on building trees. I think we were all making trees together at the library one day. That was one of my first meetings.
So Don was a regular on my Thursday crew at my house. And after the second visit, he started bringing Carol along, Carol being Don's wife. And I immediately, like you said, Ron, she did some of the scenery work at Don's. I immediately put her to work on mine. I've got pictures of Carol sitting on top of my layout doing work. And Don kidding her about sitting up there and having her butt in the air. But anyway, so he was a regular at my place, and I started going to his house on another day of the week. And you didn't show any pictures of the yard, Ron, so I guess you didn't take any. But we were just getting ready to tear out his freight yard and revise it because he didn't like it. And I was on my way to Salt Lake in 2019 to the national convention, and Carol calls me up to let me know Don had passed away. So that was turned out to be kind of a sad beginning to my trip. So I do miss him. I miss his handiwork at my place. So.
All right. Well, does anybody else have anything to share tonight?
I've got a little advertising I'd like to throw in for the convention. The Three Rivers Division, the Fort Wayne Division in October is putting on a regional convention. And if you go to our website, div3.ncr.nmra, you can see the list of what we're putting together. There are going to be various layout visits and such, and some pretty good layout visits and layout operating sessions. There's also going to be, we're putting together hopefully a tour of SDI, the Steel Dynamics, where they make the rail. Also the Indiana Northeastern Railroad up in Ashley and Hudson. There's going to be a wine for anybody who's interested, a wine trip. you know, keep the ladies happy with wine, and you can buy more railroad stuff. I think that's a proven fact. Also, what I mentioned Tom Zurich. Tom Zurich, and Chuck, did you ever give Tom a call back?
Yeah, I've called him now. I'm waiting for him to call me.
Yeah, he's out of town a lot.
Yes.
Tom is let's just say a self-made millionaire, probably billionaire. He's got I'm gonna say, I didn't measure it. Right now it's 40 by 60, but by October, he's gonna add 35 more feet onto the pole barn. And it's drop dead gorgeous. I've seen a lot of layouts. This is probably one of the best ones in the country. He's setting up operations now. We're helping him with that. He has consented to a layout visit in October. And Darren Ferreter, I don't know if anybody knows who he
Oh, yeah.
is.
Cedar
He
Rapids
does.
area.
Okay. He does. I think he's out of your area there, Doug. I think he's out of
Cedar
Cedar
Rapids, Iowa
Rapids?
City area. Yeah.
Okay.
He's in Cedar Rapids. Has a business that he designs and builds layouts for people.
Yep. And he is going to give a clinic on the AzaTrack system during that layout visit. And what we're trying to put together now, and we're going to talk about Monday, is and it probably wouldn't affect you guys too much, but a bus from Fort Wayne in the morning, come to my layout for an operating session, then go to Joe Berger's layout for an operating session, then dinner, and then go visit Tom's and have the clinic. And to me, I think it's gonna be a pretty full day. So that stuff is going on. I just thought I'd get people's minds thinking about that in case you want to come up to Fort Wayne
Absolutely.
out
That's
of Iowa. It's not much of a trip, is it, Doug?
Iowa to Fort Wayne is a good 5-6 hours from because I'm in central Iowa. It's 4 hours plus to Chicago and another hour and a half to Fort Wayne.
Yeah.
Yep. So
That's October, you said, Jen?
That's October, I think the 19th through the 22nd, that weekend.
Sounds good.
Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And also on that Thursday, there's a couple layout visits.
well, that
I
might
think
be
it's good.
possible.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be a good little convention.
Yeah, that sounds great.
And then we've got our train show for Elkhart Club coming up next month on the 18th of March. And for you guys that are out of town on this list, some of our vendors come from Wisconsin and Ohio, Illinois, all over Indiana and Michigan. So come support your local vendor.
I think that's a great show you got going on, Chuck.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've added another large HO layout to our show this year. The folks up in Battle Creek are going to bring a 16 by 32 modular layout. And then, of course, we have 2 layouts coming from Kalamazoo and 1 from Fort Wayne. And then our local T-Track guys will be there too. So we'll have plenty of trains running while we sell stuff. And there's a restaurant there to buy lunch and put your goodies in the car and come back in and buy some more stuff.
How much cooking?
Yeah, good soup. What's that soup they make?
Yeah, they make some good stuff.
Chicken and noodles they've got. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
And by the way, that Kalamazoo Club, I bought 4 engines from a guy from there. Oh, I think 10 years ago. They're still running around. They run great. I think those Kalamazoo guys know how to make stuff run nicely.
We should say that on the 26th of February, the Michigan City Club is having their sale at LaPorte. And I'll be there with 1 table. Dwayne Henry will be there with maybe 3 or 4 tables. I'm not sure. Dwayne has been selling off most of his stuff, and I didn't realize how he's really getting rid of things that I didn't think about. I should have went over to his table earlier. I would have probably bought some. By the way, John, I bought another vacuum car. This time it's a brand new one from Amazon. It was supposed to be delivered today. I didn't go outside. It's probably sitting on my porch, but which I better go look. Anyway,
Well,
it'll be today or tomorrow.
Got
I
a
hope
little-
that one sucks, Ron.
I hope it sucks too. It's brand new, so it ought to have a better chance. The other one was a real dud. They did give me my money back.
Yeah.
Oh, good. You know, people are amazed. It's at Tom Zurich's now running around his layout. And I ran about 4 or 5 feet, you know, and he was amazed at the stuff it picked up, just dust.
Well, I saw it in my layout for about, I don't know, 20 minutes and went right over and ordered one. I mean, I was just absolutely sold on it.
For those of you that haven't seen this, it's originally made by Atlas, I believe. And you can still buy them, and you can put a DCC decoder in them.
This one did not come with a decoder.
Right.
And I was reading about the negative on them. They say that you can use it as a vacuum. You can use it as a rail polisher. It has a rotating disc, and they don't really recommend that, at least to people who tried it. They said there's so much friction on the railhead that it will cause your motor to have troubles.
Hmm.
So I'm going to just use it as a vacuum.
How I use it on mine is I've got 2 Walters track cleaning cars. I send them, and then I've got a CMX tank car dropping the liquid, and then this vacuums up, and that's all pushed by 2 SDs. And you need the 2 SDs for the power. Those are Super Duty diesels for all you steam guys. 6-axle trucks.
Well, Greg, if you got a minute, I got a very brief video I could share with folks.
Absolutely.
No, let's see, share screen. I don't know if you're hearing it, but this is the addition I've added to my layout since the middle of January. Had to chip out some concrete there for rolling through the wall into the new extension of the basement. This is looking at the town of Hampton, where I started laying out some track and buildings, just grabbing stuff off the layout to see kind of what would fit based on the Sanborn map. So there's the Sanborn map. Put a couple of them together and marked all the major railroad served area. This is Minneapolis and St. Louis going north and south through Hampton. And then Chicago Great Western crossed over the north end of town. So got a small engine house there to serve the branch line that left out of there, and coaling tower and depot. They did have a Swift poultry and dairy produce building there. And then the Great Western had a Marshall Canning Company, a nursery, lumberyard, and across the north end of town. So we'll deal with that there. And I haven't got it all worked out. I don't have to draw any plans. I just start laying stuff down. I also got to leave access for the egress window. As I put it in, we should be able to keep it. That corner is going to become Sheffield, Iowa, and the Sheffield Brick and Tile Works. Their clay pit will go in the corner, and then we'll come around. That's where Tony Custer grew up as a young lad before he moved to Indiana. And then we'll come into Mason City, the south end of Mason City. We'll put in a Swift fertilizer plant that was there, and also add some of the brick and tile works that were in Mason City served by the Milwaukee. And you can see, looking back into the Mason City yard in my main layout, so.
Nice.
You should do a clinic on how you got the wife to agree to this.
What was that?
You should do a clinic on how you got your wife to agree to this.
Oh, Doug submitted report on this so that he could do this layout if he put heat in the bathrooms.
Actually, I don't recall ever asking permission.
Dead man walking.
It's been
It's
discussed.
better, it's better to beg forgiveness than to ask permission.
Yeah, it was, I mean, it's been discussed from when we bought the house. Because she called it the creepy crawl space anyway. And wouldn't even go, it doesn't even go into the basement. So it's, yeah, it's all mine. She's been down there when we've had guest visitors. She's been down twice to see what's been done, but that's it. So,
What are the plans for the ceiling?
painted black like the rest of the basement.
Oh,
The basement ceiling was painted black when we bought the house. And if I finish the basement ceiling, then I have to have my taxes raised to accommodate for that
Exactly. Yep.
finished
Yep.
space.
Yes.
What?
Yep,
Yep.
state of Iowa.
Yep. Minnesota's the same.
Yep.
Unfinished, it counts as unfinished. If you leave it the way just painted, it's fine. But as soon as you put, taxes go up, finished room.
Yep. Yeah, so in fact, I'm not even sure I'm going to tell the tax assessor I've done this because he's still got that as crawl space in that basement, was also dropped my taxes a little bit. Because they had it marked as basement. I pointed out to him when he came to look, I said, that's not a basement. And he says, you're right. So,
You can still crawl in there if you need to, so.
yes, I can. Yep.
You'll see that new egress window from the outside.
Yeah. You're right.
That's when you plant a tree there.
You know,
Sneaky,
funny story about gaining access and having the ability to do what you want to do in your basement. I've got a magic door. Everything past the magic door is mine. Everything above the magic door is hers. But I remember when I bought the house, she comes down, she goes, because there's a built-in closet in the basement and there were 2 windows. And Lisa said, oh, well, you know, it's your basement, but do what you want to do, but you got to keep those 2 windows and you got to keep that built-in closet. The guys who have been here know that there are no windows in my basement and you cannot find the built-in closet because it's behind the backdrop.
We won't tell.
Well, we tore out the bedroom and the closet and stuff that was down here before we even moved into the house. So. Yep, she told the realtor, we don't care about what the kitchen looks like when we walked into the living room. The realtor was going on about the kitchen. My wife said, we don't care what the kitchen looks like. We want to know what the basement looks like.
Yep.
And
when I was looking for the home I'm in currently, I used to go down and measure the basement, and the realtor asked Susan, what is his problem? He doesn't seem to care about the rest of the house. He's always headed for the basement. Susan said, you have to understand his crazy hobby.
yeah. No, my wife is very understanding, and the realtor didn't know what to do with us, but she took us to the basement first, and I never did see what the bedrooms looked like.
The whole reason I'm in the house that I'm in is my ex chose it because it's an 1,800 square foot house with an 1,800 square foot basement, half of which is the garage. The other half is where my layout will be.
Yep. Well, I added 260 square feet to my existing 1,700, 1,650. So I'm about 2,000 square feet now. So.
Very nice.
Nice.
Yep. And it's all mine.
Mine.
Yep. The laundry is upstairs, the garage is upstairs, so, yep, it's all mine.
Oh, that's
The
great.
cats are
Same
not
here,
even
I have-
allowed down here, so.
I have the
Yeah.
entire basement. I do too. I'm very lucky.
I moved my laundry upstairs, because it's gonna be more convenient if it's upstairs.
Yep. Well, that was the plan from the get-go when we
Hey,
got the
Greg, I
house.
just found one picture I can share too.
Okay,
Should I do it?
yeah, go ahead.
So that is my modules over a year ago. But over here is one of Don Cope's buildings.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
And this is one of Don Cope's locomotives. He had two GE 44 tonners that he took the bodies off of and put on 1939 Central of New Jersey or something bodies. And so I've got the 44 tonners bodies also, and that's going to go back on there when I'm running the modules. But this is when they were under construction, and that's my daughter when she was visiting from Washington.
mhm.
Got the railroad T-shirt and everything.
Yep.
You let her have a 400? That's
That's one
programmable.
from the museum up in Trego, Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I'm intrigued by the floor levelers you have on those, on the benchwork legs down there. I've never
Oh,
seen anything like that. Mounted on the side. Where did you
Wow.
find
yeah, they
those?
mount on the side and they've got screws on the top.
Yep.
So you can come in with a long power drill and crank them up and down without messing up your knuckles and everything else.
Where did you
Look
find
like-
those?
Lee Valley Hardware.
Wow,
I can dig out the part numbers and share it on the group here next time.
thank you. That's intriguing.
Yep.
They look
Some of
like
the
bells on a 202 head.
Some of the woodworking stores would have them too.
Okay.
Yeah,
Probably
I'm
not.
not sure I've seen these exact ones in a woodworking store, but Lee Hardware has them, and these legs come in various lengths. You buy this part and then you buy this part.
Yeah.
But so I've got a dozen or something.
Talk
Those
about a
are-
work saver. Wow.
Is that Lee Valley?
Lee Valley, yeah.
Oh, Lee Valley.
Thank you for showing that.
Okay.
Mhm.
Now if I can figure where the unshare button is.
I have a picture of one of the locomotive that Don built for me. I did the painting and finish. He just did the other. So if I can get it up, I'll show you what it looked like.
Okay.
The Northwestern had
Oh,
2 or 3 of these locomotives. And I think they ran mostly in the Chicagoland area. I'm not sure. Did they get up into Milwaukee, Dave?
I don't think so.
Yes, I think I've seen a photo of one at the Milwaukee Lakefront Depot.
So one of these trucks is powered, the other truck is not. And when I was putting the LEDs in here, and of course I glued them in, I turned them on and found out one is different than the other one. So you can only look at that locomotive from one way. I sure don't like that. Someday maybe I'll drill the thing out and put the proper bulb in.
I've got a picture taken by Tom Wilson of CNW 1000 that says it's at Green Bay, Wisconsin.
Yeah, that could have got up there. Yeah. Let's see, I gotta figure out how to get out of this too.
Some of them got the chevron stripes on the end.
Yes, they did.
So Ron, is that also a Bachmann 44 tonner
It is.
drive?
No, this is the northwest short line here.
Okay,
And this one is, this is a standard Bachmann, not Bachmann. These were roundhouse.
yeah, model die
That
casting.
was the
yeah,
model die casting.
Right.
That they made that cab. That
I
Yeah,
now have that another truck, but I don't know whether I'll ever get around to putting two trucks in it or not. But you know, that's $80 I got sitting on the shelf there. In fact,
We-
I probably have $300 in this thing.
Hmm.
Oh, yeah.
With the, that may be too much, but it has a good sound system with Stay Alive and then the short line power truck. Let's see, you're gonna have to tell me how to get out of here. Maybe this.
Just close the picture, Ron, is the quickest way I found.
I've got
Oh,
a,
yeah. That works, doesn't it?
I can share a picture of one of those in color.
Oh,
Yeah,
oh, yeah,
Wow.
yep, the box cab diesel.
that's a great picture because that may be the only one they painted in yellow.
Very cool.
The mufflers on top of the one that I showed was, Rod and I made that muffler. It's brass, and if it hadn't been for Rod's drill and drill, I don't think I'd ever got the thing done.
That strange muffler, some society I thought put those out for wasn't it the Milwaukee? For their units?
Could be.
The Milwaukee had some of the unusual mufflers like that.
Oh, the spark arresters, yeah.
Spark
Yeah.
arresters, I'm sorry. Yes.
Yeah.
So who's ever used full diaphragms on their passenger cars?
What diaphragm?
The full one, full.
Full width?
you know,
I've
full width.
installed them on my Coach Yard Sunset Limited, but I haven't actually run the train. They're the
Well,
Coach Yard full width that came with the cars.
Yeah, Bob, I've been working on those passenger cars again.
Again?
Yeah, but the full width diaphragm is too stiff.
Oh,
Could be because it's old. And when they go around the corner, they derail. So I got to try to figure out something else to use. I noticed a YouTube that was this guy was showing how he built his, but
Ron, for what it's worth, the diaphragms I have on the few cars I have, we had the problem of the sticking diaphragm on curves. Just took clear plastic and mounted it over the diaphragms on each one, cut it to exact size, and now they have a movement. You can't really tell it's there, and it allows that diaphragm to slide between them a little bit, and so they don't hold.
You
So
do
I-
run those passenger cars once in a while, though?
I'm sorry.
You
I
do
have
run those?
them before. But Bill, Bob, they're closer together than they were when you had them. I moved the couplers.
Yeah, I didn't like their couplers. The ones that came with it.
Yeah,
Ron, back when I was in Ed scale, I had some on some Ed scale cars, and I ended up putting what's the product you use on your dashboard and
Armor All?
Armor All. I put a little Armor All and rub the Armor All into it, and they were rubber, and it softened it up a little bit.
yeah, I
Can
see
you,
that.
Ron, if you can see this car, our gentleman, see, another thing we did was we just took tape and put it over the ends of the diaphragms.
Yeah.
And that allows them movement on the curves.
Yeah. Now, American Limited or something like that makes some nice diaphragms, but they're not, well, they make full ones too. And I have those. They're made out of all plastic, and they tell it the accordion. Thank you. Anyway, they do that, and it works really nice.
Well, these are accordion on here for what it's
Yeah.
worth.
Now, if I get them done, why, maybe I'll, you guys will see it on I'm kind of running out of stuff to put out each day, and since Dick is gone, that's really cut a lot of traffic down.
Yes.
He did have some interesting stuff, but I guess we're not all trains. He put out a few cars and things, and
Mhm.
people were interested in that too.
Good stuff. All right, well, thanks everybody for joining us today. We don't have anything planned for next week, so if you're interested in presenting, let me know.
Let me ask you, would this group be interested in, I've got a couple older presentations, for example, like upgrading an Athearn boxcar, hopper cars. Would you guys be interested in any of the older clinics in that regard, upgrading that type of equipment to
Yeah,
modern, modern standard?
Sure.
You bet.
Okay, I then, Greg, I could do one probably next week at the boxcar type.
Great, great.
And
I'll
Greg,
send you stuff.
one other quick thing. I know a lot of you were friends with Dick's. Joe Berger and I have been asked to give a little bit of a eulogy for him. So if there are any anecdotes or anything that you know about Dick, please send them to me. And the disposition of the layout, there will be a friends and family sale in a couple months, and then the rest of it, Jan has elected to just have a buyer come in and buy the whole thing at once. But I'll put the information up when the stuff comes up.
Mhm.
If I was 50 years old, I'd throw all my stuff away and go down and buy his. I'm telling you, it's that good. It's that good. I just would throw mine away and go buy them all, buy what I needed.
All right, well, you're on for next week, Lester, and we'll see where we go from there. But thanks everybody for coming, and thanks Ron and John and Neil for providing those pictures. And we'll see you next week. Have a great Thursday.
Have a good weekend.
Bye-bye.
Somebody poke Ken and wake him up.